All right, all right. In five, four, three, two, one, and welcome back, welcome back. So today and this week, I'm not gonna go on any particular rant. Just gonna talk about kind of what's been going on. And as 2020 has seemed to continue to not surprise me and in kind of a little bit of a way amaze me, somehow the world is still in chaos, and every day seems to only get crazier. One thing that I was reading yesterday that I thought was super cool was that apparently scientists found that there is a possibility for life on Venus. Like, I don't know about you, but me in general, if anything has to do with like planets or shit, I think it's insane, it's crazy, it's cool. It's great, as a matter of fact. I think personally it's subconscious because I think living on this planet as a black person and every day getting bombarded with your brothers and sisters getting beat, killed, murdered, slaughtered, or just your life will just never be easy, even if you're a rich celebrity or anything. The possibility of there being life on another planet just amazes me because, hey, if I'm living in a shithole, there's probably another people that are either far superior intellectual to us or are living in the dinosaur ages of microbial beginning of life, and they gonna feel it one day. But yeah, so let me pull that up. So let me read the complex article. Yes, yes, yes. And that's Google Maps. I don't need that. But yeah. Whew. Life on Venus. It's very hard to believe. So, what it's saying here is that thanks to the ever valuable work of astronomers, we now know that Venus boasts potential signs of a little thing called life. A group of astronomers picked up the chemical signature of none other than phosphine, phosphine in the clouds of Venus, thanks to observational prowess of two telescopes in Hawaii and in Chile. Per the Associated Press, not stoked enough report on Monday. Further research, however, is needed before any poise these findings of any full-blown smoking gun scenario. And obviously, there it's only a possibility, so it's not even saying that there is life, but even just the chance, just the tiny chance that there's life on another planet is just amazing to me. Still, there's plenty here worth getting excited about, including a public invitation from study co-author Jane S. Greaves to private companies interested in assisting with new investigation efforts. She says that a mission with a balloon would be great. Prof. Jane Greaves mentions that Japanese mission currently orbiting Mars and India's plans for a mission, and even invites private space companies to step up to the challenge. So Elon Musk, the team, though, they make it clear throughout the Nature Astronomy published study that they aren't attempting to state definitively that there's life in or around Venus. Spent time attempting to come up with non-life ways in which such quantities of phosphine could be present. Not a single process we looked could produce phosphine in high enough. Oh, thank you for moving me. In high enough quantities to explain our team's findings, said the co-author in MIT Planetary Science, Sarah Seeger, who noted that this exhaustive aspect of research included looking at other possibilities like volcanoes and lightning. And I don't know about you, but I already know that Jupiter is like 20 times bigger than Earth. Obviously not, but it's much bigger than Earth, and it has like a storm cloud tornado storm that's been running for over 500 years. And Saturn and Uranus has wings. Pluto's not a planet, it's a dwarf planet. So I just love space news. Like, I don't know how like one person could ever not be interested in space. Just the possibilities of what could and couldn't be just amazes me all the time. And the same way that I don't know, well, the sea is hella scary, but the fact that only like 10% of the entire ocean has been explored, like places like Marianer's Trench or like deep, deep down, there's probably like fish from like the dinosaur ages, even the beginning of time, is like amazing and crazy to me, and I just want to know more. So, on not so like bright news, the world is on fire, and it's not what we think, because people knew that, I think it was last week sometime, that some idiots decided to have a baby shower. Nothing wrong with that. But in doing that baby shower, they were doing pyrotechnics. And those pyrotechnics ended up exploding and causing brush fires. And apparently it was like 102 degrees, which is probably like 40 Celsius here, because like the rest of the world, I use Celsius. So it's extremely hot day. They have a baby shower, they do pyrotechnics, and now that has started a fire. And I remember, even, I don't know how long ago it was, but like it has to be like no more than a couple of years ago, the same thing happened. Someone was doing a baby shower and it started a fire, and that fire devastated and ravaged the earth. And I think that's just one little piece, because I've come to find out that California isn't the only place that's on fire right now. And I think that is crazy, crazy, crazy. Because how can we be sold such a lie? I've seen so many people make fun of Greta Thunberg, and everyone made fun of Al Gore. Everyone makes fun of the Dems, but I'm not even going to get into that. But the fact that they want a Green New Deal, American politics is kind of complicated, and I'm not going to talk about it like I know it, but the fact that there are people, political or not, that actually want to do something about the environment or try and save the planet, and then people are saying no, but look at what is happening. Sorry, just looking up the... Okay, so New York Times article. They said it's not just the West. There are places, these places are also on fire. Extreme temperature and more severe droughts, the result of human-caused, keywords, human-caused climate change, have created a world that's ready to burn. Wildfires are devastating the American West, but the United States isn't the only place on Earth that's burning. This year, other countries have also experienced their worst wildfire in decades, if not recorded history. In each case, the contributing factors are different, but the underlying theme runs through history. Hotter, drier seasons driven by burning fossil fuels have made the world more prone to erupt in flames. We don't have a fire problem, we have many fire problems. Stephen J. Pine, an eruptuous professor at Arizona State University, who studies wildfires and their history. One, obviously, is a deep one. It is to do with fossil fuels and climate. Here's a look at some of the worst recent blazes and how humans played a role in them. The Arctic and Siberia, yes. They're going to launch a new Titanic in 2022, and then someone replied on Twitter, well, they ain't gonna crash from our iceberg because we melted all of them. The Arctic as a whole is experiencing warming at more than twice the pace of the rest of the world. Record low snow cover, high temperatures, and dry soils, almost certainly a result of human-caused climate change, have all contributed to fires. This summer, portions of the Arctic shattered wildfire records set just last year, which at the time was the worst fire season in 60 years. The Russian town of Verkhovsky, I did not spell it right, but it's Verkhoyansk, became the first place above the Arctic Circle to experience temperatures over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, so about 38 degrees Celsius. Yeah, so I was right, it was about 40. So someone did a baby fire and did pyrotechnics in about 40 degrees Celsius in June. Record heat also thawed combustible but usually frozen peatland, which fed wildfires that burned an area roughly the size of Belgium. Insane. While no lives were lost, smoke smothered the Russian countryside and burned land emitted surge of planet-warming carbon dioxide, about as much as Norway emits annually. Wow. Because even I saw an article yesterday that said that the smoke from California is so dense that we're seeing it here in Ontario, so in an entirely different country. And it said it won't affect our air quality, but look at Mother Earth, look at the planet. How could it not eventually lead to something that's way more disastrous? In the humid tropics, climate conditions play a smaller role in wildfires. There, clearing and burning land for agriculture is primary cause of fires. In July, central Kalimantan province on Borneo declared a state of emergency as fires burned out of control. That followed severe fires in Indonesia last year and in 2015. The year of a drought in the country was linked to El Nino, the period of warming of the tropic Pacific Ocean that can affect weather worldwide. Even without and another ad pops up and kind of messes me up for where I am. Where was I? Blah 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 blah. Stop selling me ads. Blah 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 blah. Now I have to scroll back down to where I was. Even without dry conditions, though agricultural practices played a crucial role in fires. Oh, moved again. It's very rare to see fires naturally, said DeFries, a professor of sustainable development at Columbia University. When we see fires in humid tropics, this is a human ignition source behind it. I think I'm seeing a trend here. Without land use, you could have dry conditions associated with El Nino and not have fires. Brazil. Oh, this one I know was a big thing. I don't even know if it's still last year or this year, but I know all the Arctic people are protesting against Bolsonaro, and then he kind of just set fires and took away their cultural land just to kind of fuck them over. The worst fires on record are burning now in the Pantan wetlands in the country's south. Farther north, in the Amazon rainforest, tens of thousands of fires are still burning after a summer of blazes. In June, Brazilian officials have called the Amazon fires the worst in 13 years. As in Indonesia, deforestation for agriculture is a primary culprit. Farmers and ranchers cut down trees on the edge of the rainforest and set them on fire to clear the land for crop grazing. But climate change is a force multiplier. During droughts like the current one in the country, those fires penetrate further into forests, burning more trees and causing more damage. And there's also Argentina, Australia, which I'm pretty sure you guys can read. It's the New York Times, but I think you're getting the message because I definitely am. And I've kind of been fed this my entire life, and I believe it, and I hope a lot of sensible people believe it too, that capital is replaceable. It's not more important than human life and life on Earth. That I don't know when the tipping point is, because, it's so fragile. Here in Canada, we have this thing called the CNE. And the CNE is basically like, for people in America, like Six Flags, but it comes every summer. It's like a carnival. It's a gigantic carnival that happens in Toronto, so the GTA, General Greater Toronto Area. And every year it's like a big thing. There's a bunch of rides and carnival games. It's a really fun end of the summer thing. And obviously this year, because of COVID, they shut it down. And there was an article that released that said that it might never come back because of COVID, which is crazy to me, but it's really not now that I think about it, because the trend I have been seeing at least is a lot of businesses, they can't recover from such a big lockdown. And some of them are mom and pops, so I understand. They're people, they're small businesses, it's their livelihood. But then places like the CNE, which reported like a $6 billion loss from not being able to open this year. What kind of fragility and weakness has been built so ingrained into our system that a couple months, because the CNE only runs like the end of August, so it's like maybe July. I don't think it's all summer. Like July to August, it'll never be able to open again. And so my little cousins that are like, I don't know, 10, 7, and 3 might never be able to go to the CNE ever again, if that, if they ever went, which I'm not even sure that they did. And I think that's insane. And I think that 2020, everyone's saying that 2020 is the worst year ever and blah, 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 blah. But I think 2020, I'm pretty sure I said it in the last episode, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it on Twitter and everything, and a lot of places, but 2020 isn't the worst year ever. 2020 is the eye-opener. As someone said that the Mayan calendar was off 8 years, so 2012 technically is technically adjusted to 2020, so that's why the world is ending. And whether that's true or not, it holds some weight, because 2020 has exposed the weakness in capitalism and how literally it was already a report that came out last year that most Americans don't have an extra $300 or $400 saved up. So if anything happens to them, they're going to go bankrupt. And I think the numbers were similar in Canada, where like a good 40% of Canadians don't have regular savings. That there's so many people living paycheck to paycheck, and I don't know how that speaks to how sad that is, because now more than ever everyone's coming and getting bachelor degrees or some types of educations that even regular jobs that people would get 30 or 40 years ago, now you need a bachelor's degree, not a bachelor's degree, you need like a master's degree or PhD to get a job that's worth $15 an hour. I think it's crazy that right now I'm looking for jobs, because the current job I have contract ends this Friday. The other job I secured is only for a couple months, and I don't know if they'll keep me. So there I am once again looking for jobs, and then I'm seeing, like, I can't believe I spent like pretty much $30K to get for 5 years to get my degree. And out of that, people want to pay me $15 an hour, and I have student loans, phone bills, car bills to pay back. Wow. And then when they ask you for your asks, you have to be able to have 5 years of this, 10 years of this, be able to do this on a fly, work in a fast-paced environment. That's crazy. And then we're sitting here looking at Amazon and Walmart and McDonald's, how they abuse their workers on the front line and in the back-end manufacturing. But we still flock to these places and we work at these places because they pay us well, and there's no way that we're going to live our lives in debt, especially after our parents or maybe us ourselves are working to have generational wealth and to live better than the generations of our parents before us, if we weren't so lucky to come from privilege, which I'm pretty sure not all of us do. So it's crazy that 2020 is exposing, like, hell, racism's been there for so long. Like, slavery dates back to the Bible, and I'm pretty sure there are things that are older than the Bible that talk about slavery and things that they've done, like Greek mythology and everything, just to name a few, because those were some of the interests I had. So all of these things are being exposed. Weak healthcare systems, weak job care systems, pathetic governments that don't know how to handle, how seeing the compare and contrast of places like New Zealand to places like America, how they handle a lockdown, and seeing that all these things, why are we working for them? Why is it that there's a lockdown and people don't want to stay inside and they want to go out every day, which is fine, up to them, but then when they get sick, they get angry at the healthcare workers. They get sick and angry that there's an overloaded system, never mind the fact that they weren't being cautious to begin with. Like, there's some people I see that are saying that you're sheep for injecting yourself with the flu virus or wanting to get a vaccine for coronavirus. And honestly, as a person of color, I would not be the first person. Even with phones or new things, I am never the first person to get something because always something wrong. Like iPhones, I never get the 10 or the 5. I always get the S or the R. Like, the updated version, because the first one, they obviously release it, they have all the bugs, and then they come out a year later with the SE or the S or the R that's 10 times better. So never be the first in line unless they're going to pay you shit ton of money. And that's not me. So I would not be one of the first people to ever get my stuff taken and stuff. So yeah. So basically what I'm trying to say is that this world has shown what a deep contrast people live to what they think and what our world really is, and that things that people think are far-fetched, like I can't believe that some people are learning about racism through an infographic, whereas people like me and a lot of the people I grew up with learned about it by experiencing it. I think it's crazy that people think that wearing a mask is oppression. Like they really know what oppression is. And I think it's even crazier that there are people of color who experience racism, discrimination, and then never mind if they're like gay, transgender, and all the other things that are stacked on top of them that have been crippling them for their entire life, but they still have fought through it because they're here today. And they fall into these dangerous traps of, you know, not looking out for their fellow man and only thinking about themselves, which in the end is only going to destroy our communities. Like, man, 2020 is a big reset, and if we do not start changing things now, it's only going to get worse. And I cannot believe that I have to say this, but think up, people. Do better. Like, if you're going to say you're an educated person and you can critically think, stop focusing on the wrong issues. Instead of focusing on where your government is messing up, start focusing on things that you can change. If you think you can really do a better job, run for office or go to your town hall and actually do something that means something, when it comes to racism. And honestly, this summer I've really tried to stay off social media. Not even about the posting, but just going on in general. Not even because I have a full-time job now and everything, but just because some days I just want to go on social media and smile and laugh. But it only takes 5 seconds to see that one post or that one video being reposted again and again and again and again and again of me seeing someone getting killed and murdered that looks like me or has a skin tone similar to mine. And I'm not even gonna go into it because I feel like every video I talk about it, but that's just my life. And while racism doesn't affect me directly as others, because I don't really get involved with the police and all these other enforcements, but there's always a fear, which I'm pretty sure some of us or a lot of us have in our back of their mind, that one day it's all gonna flip, and in a second like that, I'm shot, I'm paralyzed, I'm dead, and I'm a name on a t-shirt. But I never ever want to be a statistic. I said it, that if the police or any kind of institution, especially a government one run, takes away my life, don't make me no hashtag or no face on a t-shirt. I want you to burn the institution that made it happen to the ground. And that's all I have to say for today. Well, actually, I have one more thing that I kind of want to talk about, and it's Umbrella Academy. So I was reading this article yesterday because, spoiler, at the end of season 2, Ben comes back, and he's alive, and then people were theorizing, how did Ben die? This article reads, with two seasons of Umbrella Academy now under Netflix's belt, the action-packed season 2 finale firmly set up where the series goes next. Just like season 1 rounded off with the tantalizing the end of something, queued up the music to season 3's main arc, thanks to the introduction of the Sparrow Academy. While the regular cast, Luther, Vanya, Klaus, and company, are all sure to play their part, it looks like there will be a lot more to come from Justin H. Min's Ben. The forgotten member of the troop is number 6, aka the Horror, aka Ben. Even though has featured briefly in flashbacks to the family's younger days, it was also confirmed that the young hero died. Oh, I cannot take all these ads just bombarding me when I'm trying to read. So he died at some point in the line of duty. Plenty of theories about what actually happened to Ben have rained down on comic book caper, but now Ben himself has thrown into the weight behind one of the most popular ones. Though so far there has been hints of what happened to Ben, although he was alive and kicking during the bank heist, where fans got a glimpse of why he's called the Horror. Ben died shortly after. While some think it's a demonic presence inside Ben that drove him mad and caused him to take his own life, Season 2 alluded to the tragedy that his adopted siblings had to something to do with his old timely demise, which, quite frankly, they were pieces of shit when they were younger, so I kind of believe that. Discussing the idea that the other 6 is responsible for that one of the other 6 is responsible for Ben's death, Min told Bustle that I think that's one of the main reasons why the family split apart after Ben's death, because not only... Oh, another one. Oh, enough with these ads. Let me just... Oh, I think that's the main one of the main reasons the family split apart after Ben's death. Because not only were they dealing with their crazy father, but they're also dealing with the guilt of having someone responsible for some sort of responsibility for the brother dying. Who holds more of that guilt and responsibly is a mystery still, but I think to a certain extent all the family members feel that. When the family gathered at Ben's funeral, Sir Reginald Hargreaves skimmed over what happened to number 6 in his usual stern stance, being that it's a typically caring father figure who has to children. Reginald used Ben's death as a lesson to the superpowered group. However, if you delve deeper into what happened, there's a likely candidate for who caused the blame for death. I have a feeling it's Klaus. There's a prevalent theory that Robert Sheeran's Klaus's will have to carry the cross into Season 3. More than just owning Klaus's powers and the fact that he's dead, Ben has been linked to Klaus the most. There have been brief interactions with Diego and Vanya, but when it comes to partners in crime, Ben and Klaus are something of a double act. Klaus has struggled with addiction because he's haunted by the horrors of the dead. But what if this goes one step further and also including the Ben situation, as well as losing his boyfriend and suffering PSD from the Vietnam War? Would be a real kicker if Klaus was the one behind Ben's death, which I really think he was, to be honest with you. Showrunner Steve Blackman previously told Inverse how Ben's death would be revisited in a hopeful 3rd season, but explained that it's kept a tight lid due to the respect of Umbrella Academy's creator Gerard Way. That answer will come later on, hopefully in another season if we're lucky, said Blackman. It's something that I think Gerard wants to hold off a little longer in the graphic novels. I'm trying to respect that, so I think that's something down the road. And one thing's clear though, once again, I cannot take this. One thing's clear though, Season 3's Ben is not the quiet sideline the ones fans have come to know and love across the show's run of episodes. The Season 2 finale rounded off with the major reveal that Sparrow Academy has a very different version of Ben, with Klaus and the others caught up in the 1963 drama. Ben presumably didn't perish during the botched mission. Brooding that and moody emo Ben has also looks like he's the poster boy of Sparrow Academy, where number 5's picture once hung up above the fireplace in the Hargreaves homestead. It's now Ben who's the top dog. So I'm excited to see what happens next. And one last thing. So yesterday I watched the entire Apple event and I'm excited for the Apple Season 6, but I'm kind of pissed because I kind of just got the Apple Season 5. This always happens to me. Like every year I buy something and then something cooler comes out. Not that like I wasn't expecting a new phone and a new watch and iPad to come out, because they do that like pretty much every year or every 2 years, but damn man, it looks so much cooler. Like I'm literally debating just trading this in and getting the 6, but we'll have to see about that. And even the iPad Air, I also just got an iPad itself, and I got like the 256 one, so it's like but it's the regular base model iPad because I don't need much. But I'm thinking of applying and trying to get into a master's program, and I would love to have an iPad to use there. So I have to think about all these things. But in the meantime, it's been fun, but I have other things to do. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that. And remember, always, 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 always. No, that's a little whack. Anyways, what I was trying to say before my camera so rudely cut me off. Remember that now more than ever, what the world needs is solidarity, not conformity. Peace.